The haunted secrets of the isolated forest. Deep within the heart of a vast and dense forest, there lay a small clearing, hidden away from the rest of the world. The clearing was surrounded by towering trees, their leaves rustling gently in the breeze, creating a soothing sound that echoed through the air. In the center of the clearing stood an old and gnarled tree, its trunk thick and sturdy, its branches reaching out towards the sky. The clearing was a place of peace and tranquility, where the sounds of the forest were muffled, and the only sounds were the gentle rustling of leaves and the occasional chirping of birds. It was a place where one could forget the worries of the outside world and simply bask in the beauty of nature. However, the clearing was also a place of mystery, for it was said that those who entered it were never seen again. Some said that the clearing was cursed, while others believed that it was home to a powerful and malevolent spirit. Still, there were those who dared to venture into the clearing, driven by curiosity or a desire to solve the mystery of the forest. One such adventurer was a young woman named Emily. She had always been fascinated by stories of hidden places and secret worlds, and when she heard about the isolated forest, she knew that she had to see it for herself. So, one day, she packed a backpack with food and water and set off into the forest. As she made her way through the dense foliage, she could feel the weight of the trees bearing down upon her, their branches reaching out to snatch at her hair and clothing. But Emily was not deterred, and she pressed on, her eyes fixed on the clearing in the distance. After what felt like hours of walking, she finally emerged from the trees and into the clearing. At first, Emily was struck by the beauty of the place. The old tree in the center of the clearing was even more magnificent up close, its branches twisting and turning in 1,000 different directions. She could feel the warmth of the sun on her skin, and the gentle breeze that blew through the clearing was a welcome relief from the stifling heat of the forest. But as she explored the clearing, Emily began to feel a sense of unease. There was something off about the place, something that she couldn't quite put her finger on. The birds had fallen silent, and the rustling of the leaves had grown faint. Emily decided to set up camp for the night, hoping that a rest would help her shake off her unease. She built a fire, cooked some food, and settled in for the night. But as the sun began to set, Emily could feel her unease growing stronger. She could hear strange noises coming from the forest, a low growling sound that seemed to be getting closer and closer. Suddenly, there was a loud crack, and Emily spun around, her heart racing. She could see a dark figure moving through the trees, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Emily knew that she was in danger, and she scrambled to her feet, grabbing her backpack and running as fast as she could. She could hear the creature behind her, its footsteps pounding on the ground, and she could feel its hot breath on her neck. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Emily burst through the trees and into the open air. She collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air, her heart pounding in her chest. As she lay there, Emily realized that she had been foolish to come to the isolated forest. She had been warned of its dangers, but she had been too curious to heed the warnings. Emily picked herself up and began the long trek back to civilization. She knew that she would never forget her encounter with the creature in the forest, and she knew that she would her harrowing experience. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the forest than just danger and mystery. She spent the next few weeks researching the history of the forest, reading books and talking to locals who had heard stories about the clearing. What she discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. The isolated forest was once home to a group of people who lived in harmony with nature, using the resources of the forest to survive. They were known as the forest dwellers, and they were rumored to possess incredible powers. However, as time passed, the forest dwellers became isolated from the rest of society, and their practices became more and more extreme. They began to practice dark magic, using the power of the forest to summon creatures from the depths of the earth. Eventually, the forest dwellers were driven out of the forest, their magic and knowledge lost to time, but the creatures they had summoned remained, lurking in the shadows and waiting for unsuspecting travelers to stumble upon their domain. Emily knew that she had to go back to the isolated forest. She was determined to uncover the secrets of the forest dwellers and to put an end to the danger that lurked within the clearing. So, she returned to the forest, this time with a plan. She had brought with her a powerful talisman, passed down through generations of her family, which was said to protect its wearer from harm. As she entered the clearing, Emily could feel the eyes of the creatures upon her, but she stood tall, the talisman glinting in the sunlight. For hours she searched the clearing, looking for any sign of the forest dwellers or their magic. Finally, she came across an old book, hidden beneath the roots of the tree in the center of the clearing. The book was written in a language that Emily didn't recognize, but as she read through its pages, she began to understand the power that the forest dwellers had possessed. She learned of their spells and incantations, and she knew that with this knowledge, she could put an end to the danger in the isolated forest. Emily spent the next few days studying the book, memorizing the spells and practicing the incantations. She knew that the creatures in the forest would not take kindly to her meddling, but she was determined to see her mission through to the end. As the night fell, Emily stood in the center of the clearing, her talisman hanging around her neck. She began to chant the words from the book, her voice growing louder and more confident with each passing moment. Suddenly, the ground began to shake, and the creatures emerged from the shadows. They were grotesque and otherworldly, their bodies twisted and deformed from years of living in the darkness. But Emily did not falter. She continued to chant, the words from the book flowing effortlessly from her lips, and slowly, the creatures began to retreat, their eyes filled with fear. It was then that Emily knew that she had succeeded. The danger in the isolated forest had been defeated, and the secrets of the forest dwellers had been uncovered. As she walked out of the clearing, Emily felt a sense of accomplishment that she had never felt before. She knew that she had done something truly remarkable, and that she had proven that even in the face of danger and mystery, determination and knowledge could overcome even the darkest of forces. From that day forward, Emily became known as the hero of the isolated forest, a title that she wore with pride. And though she never forgot the danger that lurked within the clearing, she knew that she had made a difference, and that her legacy would live on for generations to come. Years passed, and the isolated forest became a popular destination for adventurers and thrill seekers from all over the world. People came to see the place where Emily had faced down the creatures, and to marvel at the beauty of the trees and the wildlife that inhabited the area. Despite the increased traffic, the forest remained a place of mystery and intrigue. Some claimed that they could still hear the whispers of the forest dwellers on the wind, while others swore that they had seen strange shadows moving through the trees. But no one ever encountered the creatures that had once terrorized the clearing, and for that, they had Emily to thank. Emily, for her part, continued to live a quiet life in a small town near the isolated forest. She never sought fame or recognition for her deeds, preferring to live a simple life and enjoy the company of her friends and family. However, she remained fascinated by the forest and its history. She spent many hours poring over the old book that she had found, trying to decipher its secrets and learn more about the forest dwellers and their magic. One day, as she was reading through the book, Emily came across a spell that she had never seen before. It was a spell for summoning a creature from another world, a creature that was said to possess incredible power and knowledge. Emily knew that this was not something to be taken lightly, but her curiosity got the better of her. She decided to try the spell, just to see what would happen. She gathered the necessary ingredients and began to chant the incantation. At first, nothing happened, and Emily began to think that the spell was a failure. But then, there was a flash of light, and a creature appeared before her. It was unlike anything that Emily had ever seen before, with shimmering scales and eyes that seemed to glow with intelligence. The creature spoke to Emily in a language that she did not understand, but as she listened, she realized that it was telling her things that no human could ever know. It spoke of distant worlds and ancient civilizations, of magic and science, of things that were beyond the comprehension of mere mortals. For hours, Emily spoke with the creature, absorbing its knowledge and learning all that she could. And when it was time for the creature to leave, she knew that her life would never be the same. She returned to her town with a newfound sense of purpose. She used the knowledge that she had gained from the creature to help her community, to solve problems that had once seemed unsolvable. She became known as a wise woman, a healer and a guide, and people came from far and wide to seek her advice and counsel. And though she never forgot the danger and mystery of the isolated forest, she knew that she had gained something far more valuable from her experience, the knowledge and wisdom to make a difference in the world, and to help others in ways that she had never thought possible.